Mark, let me just say, brother, let's say it again. You
Brother.
know, I have nothing but great fond memories of our time together all those years ago, and what a great impression it made on me. And so, thank you for sharing some of these great stories, some of which I never heard, and a unique perspective that only you would have, someone who had been there from the very beginning. And you know, is there anything else that you'd like to share before we roll on here? Because we've taken up plenty of your time, and you've been very gracious
Yeah.
with it. Thank you.
Well, I think what I'd close with is, so when the movie was released, it was a failure. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no two ways around it. It was a failure. I think it played for maybe a week or two in Los Angeles total. I think it only opened in 3 markets. I think it played most 2 to 3 weeks in any one market. But it really, 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 really was a failure.
Abysmal failure. Yes.
Okay, now, and this is where I'd want to talk 2 different things. One, thank goodness for videotape.
Yes.
Thank goodness for pay cable. Thank goodness for all those things.
Lifetime.
The only reason this movie has any life is because the fans have enjoyed it.
Yes.
I mean, this literally is a movie that the fans have created.
Yes.
So, on one hand, I'd want to talk about that. It's the fact that has, the only reason it's lived on wasn't because of how it was received.
No.
Jeff Brookings from Ultimate Fandango, he has the letter that I kept from Warner Brothers. They sent to the production office after the first public screening, where they did a test screening. And they Warner Brothers ripped the movie to shreds. So, Jeff, I don't know if he's posted it on the website anywhere, but there will be a letter. It's the only one in existence. We didn't have computers back then. This was typed on a secretary's typewriter. It was Xerox. There was probably only 12 copies. Everybody else burned them. Of course, I put it in a file and I keep it. This will let you know what the studio actually thought of the movie at the time. They hated it. They hated the movie. It got terrible reviews at the time. Should have disappeared. It's only the fans that have kept it alive.
Yes.
That's one perspective.
Yes.
Now, the other perspective I want to say is what I said earlier about this interesting bond I'll have seeing Chuck again now. That has nothing to do with the fact that the movie is now a cult hit. Literally, the movie had never been seen again after those 2 weeks way back when it filmed in LA. It had never been seen again. No one ever heard of it again. The experience I had on the movie is still the thing I would share with Chuck now.
Yes.
That would be the thing that would still make me see Chuck and go, "Ooh, man, how are you doing?"
Yes.
It just happens to be that it's a movie that there's fans that also like it.
Yeah.
They're not related.
No.
It's fun that people like it. It's interesting. It allows me to tell these stories again. But to tell you the truth, you notice I'm not telling the story to a fan. I'm telling it to a guy that made it with me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so I would still be telling this story to Chuck, even if none of you were listening.
Yes.
I'd be still telling the story to Chuck.
And I'd still be loving
And Chuck
every
would
minute.
go, "Oh, dude, Mark, I didn't know that's what happened." And
That's
I'd go,
so
"Yeah, that's
cool.
what happened."
So
and we'd be
cool.
having a fun time with it. Okay. It's just funny. There's an audience that now listen to Chuck and I reminisce about old time.
Yes. Yeah. That's fabulous.
It's a unique thing that happens, and there is this special thing about this film, and I believe there's multiple things that are responsible for it. I think Kevin wrote a very interesting screenplay. But I don't think that's it alone.
No.
I think there was a very interesting combination of people that came together. Some of them came together with certain charm talent that was going to help. Kevin Costner is very charming, and it was the beginning, and it's a perfect part for Kevin. I mean, really, Gardner Barnes is perfect for Kevin.
Yes.
I mean, he's so charming. He's a rogue. I mean, it really embodies a personality. It's a great part for Judd.
Yes.
God, he went on to do Breakfast Club. You know what I mean?
Right after.
So,
yeah.
I mean, it's a great part for Judd. But it's more than that. It was that everybody's lives were at a particular place where all of us going off to Texas for 4 months or 3 months or whatever it was a perfect thing to happen for all of our lives.
It was the right thing
And
at the
I
right time.
believe that comes across with the chemistry you see people have on screen.
Yes. And the chemistry
And
we had on
so-
screen was the chemistry we had on set.
Yes.
You know, and going back to what we talked about with the guys working with me when I first moved in the hotel, that
Right.
that relationship we built on those first early days bonded us together, and that was shown in every scene of the film. In fact, I remember the Weenie War after the Suds scene when Kevin and Judd have their fight. We talked to each other because every day we'd see each other, we'd visit. It was fun. And that day, the day before, we said, look, we just all need to agree. Tomorrow we show up on the set. Nobody talks to anybody else. It's this big bad day, so we don't deal with each other like we normally do. And we didn't, and it was a difficult day. Nobody talked to each other. We got to the set. No one looked at anybody else. No one talked to anybody else. And we had the Weenie War, and then after that, it's like everything went back to normal. But we were like that with the crew, with everybody else.
People also have to realize, do you know how many hours you guys spent filming in that car? You guys were stuck in that car for hours upon hours, and it was hot.
Yes.
It was uncomfortable. So by the time you did the Weenie War, you guys had been stuck in a car with each other for weeks.
Yes.
And I think that natural, we like each other, we're also kind of sick of each other, which so naturally come up.
Yes.
And that scene gets really mean. I mean, you guys are goddamn mean at each other.
Yes.
It naturally came out of just having spent so much time. I mean, once again, people got to realize we were in the same hotel.
Yes.
In small towns.
Yes.
There was nothing else to do.
No.
We ate together. We saw each other all the time.
Dry Texas counties where you couldn't buy alcohol.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right, man. You're absolutely right. And yeah.
No, all I was going to say, this is a side memory, is so one of the Ultimate Fandangos, I went to one. I've only been to one Ultimate Fandango where you guys actually went to locations about 5 years ago. So what year would that have been? Like 2015, something like that. 2015, 2016, something like that. I joined you guys on that. My brother and I flew there in a small plane.
Yes.
And so we went around, and then what was really great was I hitched a ride with somebody else, and we drove together from Pecos to Fort Davis up to Alpine, whatever. I hitched a ride with one of you guys. My brother flew Marvin McIntyre from Pecos over to Alpine and let Marvin fly the plane.
Wow.
So cool. It was Truman Sparks flies again across Texas.
That's so cool.
Even Truman got to fly again. And I have a photo of that someplace. I'll find it and I'll send that along. You guys can post it.
Wow, that's awesome.
I tell those stories because there was something unique. I've worked on a lot of movies since, and it's not like I have not had this type of experience again. Nothing like this.
No.
I've worked on big movies, and I would see these people and go, oh, hey, there's only this is the rarest of all of them.
It really is.
Something special was going on in the desert. And just a little shout out also has to do with Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, Texas there's something special about any of you who've never gone down to Alpine and Marfa and Fort Davis, do yourselves a favor. Go down to the Big Bend country.
Yes.
Go down and find Guam.
Yes.
That is a beautiful, beautiful part of the country. And there's something special about driving those roads.
Yes.
I believe that all kind of came together. You would agree with that, wouldn't you, Chuck?
Without a doubt. Just as many times as we've been down there and driven through there with the fans, you just, every time it looks different. Every time it feels different. The sun is different, and it just makes it all look so very different. Last year, 2019, I went down and married, was the officiant for a couple in Lajitas. And we visited Don Rock. And they're super fans, super people. Shout out to Wes and Cindy. How y'all doing? And everybody, the whole, all the guests were all Fandango fans. And these guys go there year after year to Terlingua for the big barbecue thing they have there. And their team is called the Groovers. But that place is just, it's unlike anything you've ever seen.
You'll know which highway it is. I don't remember the highway number, but it's a highway that comes out of Fort Davis and comes down and starts driving south. And there's that one moment you kind of, I think we have it in the movie. There's this moment where you kind of crest down and you come down in that valley.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, the old giant set now is totally gone. There's nothing left of that.
I don't think there's any boards left on the others now. I don't think so.
I don't think that's.
And
well, I kind of sidetracked. I was supposed to wrap things up, and
we're not rapping. We're rapping. We're not rapping. We're rapping. And that's fine. It's just, but it's indicative of everybody on the set. I mean, Mark and I have this great friendship, great relationship. Todd Adelman and I are still friends on Facebook.
Oh, Todd,
our medic. Our sound guy.
He got married during the. Did he get married during the last week of shooting?
At the gazebo. At the gazebo.
The gazebo.
Yes.
Who officiated that? Did he have a real minister?
I don't remember who it was. I think it may have been the mayor or the justice of the peace from the set.
Okay, great. Yeah, he got married, and that was the last few days of shooting. We were there.
Yeah, and Michelle Neely sang, and I played guitar for the wedding.
Oh yes.
Oh my goodness! But so Todd, Elliot Tyson, who was our re-recording engineer, is part of the group now that actually is putting this on. Dr. Ricordo, our sound guy, worked on...
Oh, Doctor, yeah.
The Doctor, he worked on The Guardian. And when I went to see Kevin while he was shooting The Guardian, he's like, you remember Dr. Ricordo, right? I'm like, yeah, man, it was... So it's just, like old... and Pam Alch. I went to the shooting of Because of Winn-Dixie down in Napoleonville, Louisiana, and I saw one of the chairs at Video Village had Alch on the back of it. I'm like, there's no way. And they came back from lunch, and there's Pam Alch, who was our script supervisor, on that show. And we just like you and I, man, just picked up.
So the other shout out, because occasionally I got to give credit to people I think deserve credit. This is going to go to Barry Osborne.
Yes, love Barry.
So Barry Osborne is the one who assembled most of that crew. Now, of course, the casting, it was all us. A lot of the crew members you've just spoken to quite lovingly, the sound engineer, the medic, the script supervisor, all these other people you've just described lovingly, these were all crew members who have been brought together by Barry Osborne.
Yes.
Okay. And so Barry Osborne had quite a bit of experience working for Coppola, and he had done this sort of thing. And Barry Osborne's gone on to be an extremely large, successful producer, huge. So your fans know part of the reason he's so successful is because he knows how to pull together great teams. Not just of skilled technicians, great teams of people who know how to work well together.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to once again give a shout out to the people who I think deserved it. I think Barry Osborne deserves a huge shout out. He's an amazingly talented man. I think he just pulled together an amazing because I never knew any of those crew members. No. I never met them before.
No.
I only knew Kevin and a guy named Ricardo Mendez Mata. He was a second AD who had worked on student film. He went on to direct also. Ricardo has directed movies. He came up and then post-production. I don't know if you knew a guy named Jay Wilkins. Anyway, I just wanted to give a shout out to Barry for having pulled together a really, really, really great team. Yeah. And then my shout out to Zimmerman would be that he just really he knew how to let everyone do their thing.
Yeah.
He was really chill. He just knew how to, when things were working, don't mess with it. Yeah. So actually, he had you don't see a lot of his fingerprints on it because he's a smart enough producer to know, don't put your fingerprints on it.
Right.
When it's working,
let it go.
Take your fingerprints away. So I loved Zimmerman. I thought he was wonderful, but you won't see his fingerprints.
No.
Barry's fingerprints you will see because he brought together an amazing crew.
Yes.
Everybody, Randy, the caterer you're talking about, all those people, a reflection of Barry Osborne.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, all the creative side, I think the creative side, which would be all actors, are a reflection of Kevin Reynolds.
Yes.
Okay, so Kevin Reynolds is the one that chose all those actors, and I think it's a reflection of him. And I just feel proud to have known Kevin. I feel proud to have been his friend. I feel proud to have known him from film school. And he was at my wedding.
Well, there you go.
And so I'm proud of knowing him.
Well, the one thing I want to leave people with is, most people don't know this, and I didn't even think of this until a few minutes ago. If God hadn't smiled on me and said, today, Chuck, you're going to be an actor, who was going to be Dorman?
I have no idea.
That guy right there. That guy right there.
Oh, no. Yes. Oh, no. That's right. Kevin told me I was supposed to be Dorman.
That's right. That's right.
Shit. Thank you, Chuck. I don't want to be Oh.
Yes.
You're right. I was plan F. Not even B, C, D, or E. I was plan F.
Yes, that would make me plan E.
God.
Isn't that
Oh,
something?
the movie would have sucked.
Oh, man.
It would have been horrible.
No,
No
look,
wonder I was so desperate to find you.
it's like, please, God. No, man, look,
No,
you knew Dorman well enough to describe him for me that night.
No. But also let's also be honest here. Oh, and honestly, I'd forgotten that. Now that you remind me, I had forgotten. I was actually, since we didn't have to execute it, I forgot it. You can see how quickly I put that on my mind. You're right. I'd forgotten. I was the next plan. I really didn't remember until the moment you now said that. I was like, oh my God, I was supposed to be it.